everybody, I'm Emily Hojnowski, lead educator at Hunt's Photo and Video. In our education department, we are always on the lookout for the best products to use in our classroom that our students can get excited about bringing home. We want these products to be easy to use and inexpensive. And today we're going to talk about two of my favorite Promaster lights that we've been using in our macro and still life classes. In today's video, I'll be demonstrating different examples of how I use these lights in classrooms in various macro and still life settings. Okay, so we're here with our first setup. We're going to start with our single light source. Our first light is going to be the CL33 RGB V2. And I have a smaller setup, so I'm working with a smaller light source today. I've got my cute little subject here. We've added some kind of natural elements around it. I've got my Promaster background back there, and then I have my reflector. We're gonna start off with just the single light. You've noticed I've placed it to the side to get some interesting side lighting here, which you'll really see defined once we shut off our shooting lights. Once we have our single light source, we're gonna be able to get some really beautiful shadows, and we'll try it without and then with our reflector to see the differences. I enjoy using a smaller light source when working with smaller subjects. That way I can really control where the light is going, and I can make sure that not much of this light is actually hitting my background and that it's going to be really only hitting my main subject in the foreground. Okay, so we have our first setup here. We've already focused, set everything up ahead of time. I even changed the temperature of my light. One of my favorite things about these light sources is that I can change my temperature, and I warmed it up a bit. Because I'm placing it so low to the ground, I wanted to mimic more of that sunset effect. So we're gonna take one photo without the reflector, and then we'll do another photo with the reflector. All right, so here we are with our second setup. This time we're gonna do a two light setup. I've got another small subject for more of a macro setup, getting even closer this time. And instead of a single light source with a reflector or without a reflector, we're just gonna use two light sources. One of my favorite things to do in toy photography is to add colorful lights. And one of the best things about these Promaster lights is that we can pick any color we can imagine. So here I have my Soundwave Transformer figurine, and we've got two different colorful lights set up. We've got red on one side and this yellowish green on the other to kind of highlight the features of our subject. The other fun feature about these lights is that they come with a diffusion panel. So they're already on right now, so if I needed a higher contrast light, if I wanted even more intensity in this shot, I can just remove my panel. And if I want to soften the light, I can add that panel back in there. The smaller my light source, the harsher my light's going to be, and the harsher my shadows will be. What these panels do, these diffusion panels, they help soften that light. Even though I'm using a small light source, I still can get a nice, beautiful light as well. All right, let's turn these lights off so we can see how this setup's going to look. All right, everyone, we're back with our third and final setup. We have a lovely cake, a larger subject, so we're gonna use a larger light source. We're using the CL36 RGBs in tandem with the CL33 RGB V2s. Promaster has created an app called the Light Attendant app, and I'm gonna be able to control these lights independently or together right from my phone. You can make all the changes you need from the light itself, but I find using the Light Attendant app makes it that much easier. I'm gonna be able to turn the lights on and off as I'm shooting to see, is my main light helping? How does my kicker light look? How's my highlight light looking? I can turn those on and off. I can also check my temperature, and I can play with the effects that are built into these lights as well. Okay, so now we're ready to shoot. I have my larger light source on, my main light source, and that's gonna be my CL36 RGB. It has a grid on it currently, so I'm able to add really, really directional, high contrast light for my high key setup. This also comes with the diffuser if I want to soften the light, but I'm going to use the diffusers on our secondary light sources. The very first thing I need to do when using a light like this, especially in food photography, is to make sure that my colors are perfectly accurate. I can check the exact Kelvin temperature of my light. And right now I'm gonna select it on my app. I'm gonna go to the Light Attendant app, select my CL36 RGB light, and make sure that that is set to 5600 Kelvin, a daylight setting. That's what I'd like to use in this nice high key setting. I can make sure that my white balance in my camera matches that exactly. And one of my favorite features is that I know exactly what temperature this is. These lights also go beyond the standard, which I find is really exciting. Many lights don't go beyond 5600 Kelvin, but these go all the way up to 85,000. So you can get a really cool looking light. Very, very blue light source if you needed it. In food photography, I'm gonna stick with a nice neutral. So I have just my single light source there. We also have a nice light on that background to keep our white light, our white background nice and white. So I'm gonna take a shot here. I've got my self timer on. I'll take my first shot. And that's what that's gonna look like with just our single light and the grid. Next, I'm going to use my Light Attendant app, and I'm going to check on my secondary light sources. The first one I'm going to turn on is my side light. This front side light is just going to add some light into my shadowy areas that I'm getting towards that front hand side. I also can make sure that I have the exact temperature that I need, 5600. I don't want two different colors of light here in terms of temperature. The white balance in my camera is not going to be able to handle that. So I can make sure I have 5600 set for both. I can also adjust the brightness. Right now my light's not set all the way up, so I'm gonna bring that up to 100% brightness. Here's what that looks like with both lights on. I'm getting nice highlights in my shot, but there's a little bit of extra shadows on that right-hand side. So I'm just gonna go right into my Light Attendant app and turn on my final light. Make sure that my light source in terms of color is correct. I've got 5600 Kelvin set and my brightness up to 100. This helps me figure out, is this light even helping me? Is it lighting where I want? So I'm able to check between my shots and see, am I getting the lighting I want? And I am. Using one large light and two smaller lights allows me to have a main light source with my brightest area in one particular spot. The secondary lights make sure that I have light in my shadow area. I don't want to overpower my main light source. I just want to add a little kick of light, a little kicker there. So this allows me to balance light properly without needing a reflector, and I'm able to balance this shot exactly how I want with these multiple lights. The app means I don't have to run back and forth into my setup. I can stand right behind my camera and see in real time, is this actually helping? Do I like the way this is looking? And that's it. That's how I'd use these lights in different scenarios in the classroom. Again, my name is Emily Hojnowski, lead educator at Hunt's Photo and Video. If you have any questions after the fact, please feel free to reach out, and we hope to see you again soon. Hi everybody. No, let me give it another break. I got this, okay. Next, I'll show you next, okay. As well as, why did I just say that? Why didn't I just say? And then you're whoa, 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 transition. Yeah, like, oh, I forgot to say my name. It's okay.